In this video, let's talk about investing in US stocks for beginners. Whether you have a lot of money or not, this video series will show you how to get started in the US stock market, even if you are a foreigner. Just like me, I'm from Asia, I'm from the Philippines. Now, some people think that investing in the stock market is a lot like gambling and that the risk is very high. You could lose your money. There's some truth to that, especially if you don't know what you are doing. And that's what I hope this video series will do for you. I hope this series will get you started in the US stock market in the right way. And let's begin by looking at why you should invest in stocks and why invest in the US stock market. First off, savers are losers. Now, I don't mean to bash savers. Saving is a great habit. You should be saving regularly. Save 15 to 20% of your income into an asset that will help you build your wealth. But what do we mean by savers are losers? This was highlighted by Robert Kiyosaki, the author of the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And he said that if you're only saving, you're actually losing money. So that's what he means. Savers must transition from being just savers into becoming investors, and you need to choose the appropriate investment vehicle. There are a lot of different assets out there, and as you can see here, if you only invest in traditional savings accounts in the Philippines, the interest rate is at 0.25%. That's why savers are losers. When you consider that inflation is at 4% here, then you are really losing a lot of money. Now, the good thing is there are a lot of different assets that you can choose from. You can invest in digital savings bank accounts that right now are offering up to 4% and some are even offering 6%. You can invest in the money market fund, in Pag-ibig MP2 fund, which is a government-backed investment vehicle. You can invest in bond funds, real estate, the PSE, the S&P 500, and even the NASDAQ. So as you can see in this chart, the stock markets give the highest average returns. The Philippine Stock Exchanges have averaged 10%, as well as the S&P 500. But the technology-based NASDAQ has averaged 15% per year. Now, why are these rates of returns important? They're important because of this rule of 72 that was first mentioned by Luca Pacioli. Luca is an Italian mathematician who worked with Leonardo da Vinci. And he mentioned if you want to know how many years an investment will double, divide 72 by the rate of return. So going back to the rates of return that we had earlier, if you have your money in a bank account where the rate is 0.25% per year, then your money will double every 288 years. And that's why savers are losers. So you want to invest in a higher investment vehicle like the money market fund that gives around 4%. So this is not guaranteed. It could be 3%, it could be 4%. But at 4%, your money will double every 18 years. Now, as you notice here, inflation in the Philippines is currently at 4%. That means if this trend continues, expenses will double in 18 years. So that's why it's important. If you only place your money in the bank, not only will your money double every 288 years, your money will not be enough for the spending that you will do 18 years from now. So that's why we need investment vehicles that can outpace inflation. If you're not from the Philippines, of course, just replace this rate with the appropriate rate in your country. So the idea is to pick investments that earn more. So like the Pag-ibig MP2 program, which gives around 6% per year, that doubles your money in 12 years. In real estate, you could have an average of 7% return, doubling your money in 10.3 years. And the S&P 500 is at 10%, doubling at 7.2 years, and the NASDAQ is at 15%, doubling almost every 5 years. So you can see here that the higher the average rate of return, the faster your money will double. And that's why it's important to pick the right asset class. And that's why savers are losers. Next reason why you should invest in stocks is that it's now cheap to invest. There are now zero commission platforms when you're investing in stocks. So it used to be that you have to go through a broker, and those brokers would charge high fees. And as technology evolved, that fee became lower and lower. And now it's zero commission fees. So like TD Ameritrade. So TD Ameritrade is a platform that foreigners can use. You can invest commission free. So 0% commissions, no platform fees, no data fees, and even no trade minimums. The one that I use is actually eToro. So eToro, you can open an account for free. Also 0% commission on stocks, and there are no management fees involved, even if you use their copy trading feature. And the good thing with investing in stocks is you don't have to be a genius. So stocks are already the highest in terms of average rate of return amongst investment vehicles that we have seen so far. They're free to invest, and you don't need to be a genius to invest in stocks. Some people would like to make it complicated, but the truth is you can actually keep it simple. Now, just like Grace Groner. Grace Groner is a secretary. So she worked at Abbott Labs for 43 years as a secretary. She never became a corporate vice president. No, she never became a high-level executive. She was just a secretary. She bought 3 shares of Abbott Labs at $60 each. This was in the 1930s. This was probably her life savings at that moment. She only bought 3 shares, and she never added to her account again. What she did was whenever she would receive dividends from Abbott, she would just reinvest and buy more Abbott shares. And she turned $180 to $9 million in 75 years. So you can become a multi-millionaire in dollars just by investing in the stock market, and you don't even have to be a genius. You just need to pick a company that will grow over the long term, like Abbott Labs. This is the chart of Abbott Labs, and I wish we had a chart that went all the way to the 1930s, but even here, you can see here that Abbott Labs has been growing exponentially through the years. It's a well-run company that has been growing through the years, and I believe they will continue to grow through the years. So stocks are one of the simplest wealth building assets on earth. You don't need to be a genius to pick stocks. All you need to learn is to pick the right companies, which is what we do here at the Deal Maker channel. So I look at different companies, I talk about them so that you can decide if these are good long-term assets for you to hold. So now we've established that you should be investing in stocks because it is one of the simplest wealth building assets on earth. It's free to invest in stocks. There are no costs associated with it, and you don't have to be a genius. But why invest in US stocks? Like me, I'm in the Philippines. We have a Philippine stock market. And wherever you are, you may have a stock market in your country. But why consider investing in the US? This may or may not apply to you. But for me, I believe there are bigger and better companies in the US compared to here in the Philippines. So the US has Amazon, Facebook, Apple, Google. These are giant companies. They are global companies, and these companies are even richer than some countries. So comparing these companies with the companies available in the Philippines, and nothing against SM or PLDT, Globe or Ayala, these guys are also awesome companies in the Philippines. However, in my opinion, they really cannot compare to the global companies in the US. And it's not just the American companies. The biggest Chinese companies are there. Some of the biggest European companies are there, are listed in the US stock market. So there is a global opportunity that is not available if they simply invest in the Philippine market. The next reason is fractional shares. And this is big for me because fractional shares actually allow you to compound your money more efficiently. Because in the Philippines, no, say you want to buy SM and SM is at 959 pesos per share. To buy it, you need to buy 10 shares because we use the board lot method. So you need to have exactly 9,590 pesos to be able to buy SM. If you don't have that exact amount, no, you can't buy SM shares. You can't even buy one share of SM. However, in the US, you can buy Amazon, which is already at $3,409 per share today, even if you only have $50. So that's the beauty of fractional shares. You can buy a stock which is priced so high, but you don't need to buy the entire share. You just need to buy a fraction of that share. And this allows you to actually compound any dividends that you have. You can compound it more efficiently because you don't need to wait for the exact board lot. Even the small bits that you get from dividends, you can invest all of them, roll over, and make it compound more efficiently. And that's what I like about the US market. If you also like these features, please make sure to hit the like button for the YouTube algorithm. This helps YouTube share this to more people and it helps the channel grow. It really supports me and supports the channel. So I hope that you will hit the like button right now. And finally, companies involved in massive technology shifts are in the US stock market. So a lot of changes are happening in the world. We can't feel a lot of that here in the Philippines because our technology is not up to par compared to the US and China, but there are massive shifts happening in the world and you can get involved in these technology shifts in the US stock market. Amazon, I mentioned Amazon earlier. Amazon was one of the first e-commerce companies in the world, and it was the first to offer cloud infrastructure services. And those two segments, e-commerce and cloud infrastructure, has given Amazon owners 9,311% return in the past 20 years. So that has already doubled your money many times over. A lot of Amazon owners who stuck with Amazon right from the beginning are already very wealthy just by holding Amazon stocks. The same can be said of Apple. Ever since Steve Jobs released the iPhone in Apple, it has taken the company into an amazing streak, into an amazing journey, and stockholders have returned more than 14,000% in the past 20 years. That includes all of the dividends that Apple has been issuing in the past few years. And more recently, you have Tesla, the leading electric vehicle manufacturer in the world today, returning 12,667%. The US market has some amazing technology companies that are simply not available in the Philippine stock market. And I believe it's not available in other markets as well. So that's why it makes a lot of sense to invest in the US. And if you will look at this chart comparing the Philippine Stock Exchange versus the S&P 500 versus the Nasdaq, so the Philippine Stock Exchange is here, it's the red line. For the past 5 years, it's actually negative. If you look here, at the start of this 5-year period, the Philippine market was actually outperforming the US market. So you don't need to leave the Philippine market entirely. It is quite possible that we could outperform the US market in the future. So don't take out all of your money in the Philippine Stock Exchange. All I'm saying is that you may want to allocate a portion of your investments to the US Because if you haven't invested, you're missing out in these amazing returns. So more than 100% return. You would have already doubled your money in the past 5 years if you invested in the S&P 500, and you would have tripled your money if you invested in the Nasdaq. Because now it's available to everyone. What was available to Grace Groner is now available to foreigners like you and me. So all of us should take advantage of the amazing opportunity that the US stock market is offering right now. I hope that was enough to convince you to start to invest in the US stock market. And if you do, can you answer this question? What's your single biggest challenge in investing in the US stock market? Let me know in the comment section below. If you want to be notified of future videos in this series, as well as other content about investing in multiple asset classes like real estate and the global stock markets, please make sure to subscribe to the Dealmaker channel, hit the notification bell so that you'll be notified whenever new videos are released. Always remember, it's always a great day to make deals, and may all of your deals push through. See you in the next video.